reports alleging that 2 Russian missiles have struck a location inside Poland near the Ukraine border. I can tell you that we don't have any information at this time to corroborate those reports and are looking into this further. And so when we do have an update to provide, we'll be sure to do so.
More states are sending out stimulus checks. We've come across some videos that are very shocking and things that are happening right here in this country. Guys, this is a video that you might not want to miss because this news is very alarming. Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to another show where we keep you updated on everything happening right here in this country, things that you need to know about on a daily basis. And one of the biggest reasons why is because who gets put in control is dictating what's going to happen over the next 2 years, things that are going to be pushing, things that are not going to happen, and things that should happen. But you came for some stimulus check news, which we have right here on the screen, as well as some things that are happening with the House. Now, let's face it, many people thought that the GOP was going to win this by a long shot. They saw the red wave coming and that this was not going to be a race at all, but that the Republicans were going to win the Senate and the House by a long shot. And yet again, surprise, the Democrats won the Senate, and now it does look like the Republicans will win the House. But what does Joe Biden have to say about it? Let's find out.
I don't think there's enough votes to codify unless something happens unusual in the House. I think we're going to get very close in the House, but I think it's going to be very close, but I don't think we're going to make it.
That was President Biden yesterday in Bali. Republicans are now within 1 seat of claiming official control of the House, the majority, after 5 races were called for Republicans last night. Mark Tepper, Liz Peek with me this morning. Mark, your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, it does look like the GOP is going to take the House by a very, very razor-thin margin, maybe 219 to 222 seats, which, you know, is in my opinion, one heck of a disappointment. You look at what the Democrats did in this election and how they actually pulled this off and maintained control of the Senate. You know, they had a game plan and they stuck to it. Number one, let's remember they meddled in the GOP primaries, and they raised money and gave money to the MAGA candidate versus the more moderate candidate to pull that candidate across the finish line because they thought they'd have a better chance. Then they demonized ultra MAGA, and then lastly what they did is they used that opportunity to not make the midterms about a referendum on how Biden was doing, but rather a choice between Biden and Trump, and it worked for them.
Yeah, well, there was also within the GOP, Liz, and Mitch McConnell putting his money on establishment candidates and blowing off Trump-endorsed candidates like a Blake Masters. I was surprised to see the results in Arizona last night. Kari Lake losing to Katie Hobbs. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that was a very, very close race. I mean, unfortunately, Arizona is another one of these places where the count took far too long. It engendered all kinds of suspicion about how that happened, how all these late votes went for Democrats. Kari Lake, up until the very last minute, was very positive that she was going to win because of where the votes were coming from, but it just didn't happen. By the way, McConnell did spend millions of dollars on Blake Masters' candidacy. I think it's a little bit unfair to blame him. It just, you know, he just wasn't a very experienced candidate. He got better, and I have to say at the end, I thought he did quite well, but anyway, it wasn't to be.
The blame game is all over the place.
Sure
Some people have the knives out for leadership. Others have the knives out for Trump. President Trump is expected to announce another bid for the White House tonight in Mar-a-Lago. Liz, you have a new op-ed, Silver Linings to the GOP's midterm shortfall. You write, Republicans' disappointing midterm elections might ultimately help them in 2024. Tell us more.
Well, look, I'm devastated by what happened. I was expecting a red wave like so many others were. But let's face it, what do we have coming out of the midterms? Joe Biden is pumped up and says he'll run again. I say yippee, because I think he is a terrible candidate. I know he won in 2020, but I thought he was a terrible candidate then. Number two, I think Trump has really lost a lot of ground. I mean, almost all of his candidates lost in this midterm election. I really think that voters have to very seriously recognize that his power in the party is diminished, and his approval ratings and popularity have really been torched by what happened in the last, not just this election, but 2020. And third, look, we have a recession looming Maria. I don't think there's any question about that. Almost every economist says so. The GOP cannot be blamed for that. Biden is on the hook for whatever happens over the next 2 years. So I think we have a better shot at the White House.
He doesn't look too happy. He's not dancing or anything because he knows that the Republicans pretty much are going to win the House. I mean, let's face it, they've got the majority. They only need just a few more, and they sealed the deal. But here's some interesting news. One of the biggest problems that I've had with the mail-in ballots was that there's always a possibility of voter fraud. Now, one of the states of Arizona, which was a key state for the Republicans, yet they were winning, and somehow at the last minute, all of these mail-in ballots came in, and guess who won? The Democrats. So it raised suspicion. I'm not the only one saying it, but guys, what is happening to the way that we elect our officials? I'm just saying it's not very, very good. So I've got a video to show you. This video right here is very alarming and very shocking, and let's just say, should we be concerned? Let's take a watch.
Reports alleging that 2 Russian missiles have struck a location inside Poland near the Ukraine border. I can tell you that we don't have any information at this time to corroborate those reports and are looking into this further. And so when we do have an update to provide, we'll be sure to do so.
This is going to be irritating, but I know you said you don't have any information on the Russian strikes. Is there any suggestion or sense that the U.S. believes this is not accurate? Are you looking into it? Can you give us just some sense of whether or not these reports are deemed believable, and what, if any, calls may be happening right now?
Yeah, thanks very much, Lita. So as I mentioned, right now, we are aware of the press reporting on this. We have no information at this time to corroborate those reports, but again, are taking them seriously and looking into them. And so I will make sure that we provide you with any updates as soon as we have them.
So anytime that a country starts shooting off missiles, regardless of where it's at or who it's against, it raises red flags everywhere. And this is something that everyone is keeping an eye on. That's why the chief guy of our armed services is out there, and he's in front of everything and saying, hey, this is what happened. We don't know what else is going on, but as soon as we do, we'll let you know. This raises awareness for everybody, because if they can shoot missiles off there, it's easy to change the direction in which that missile goes and shoot it somewhere else. So this raises awareness and flags to every single person that's in control over their country. And here's the reason why. When they take it to that level of extremeness in a battle, everybody better get ready, because something is about to go down. So hopefully our fingers are crossed, our prayers are going out, and hoping that something doesn't break out into a war, because we are not in the place right now to be jumping into a war, especially with inflation where it's at and the recession that is looming around us. So guys, let me know what you think about that down in the comments below, as well as stimulus check information for millions of people that are really wanting to know where is their stimulus check. Well guys, right here on the screen, stimulus checks 2022, your state could still owe you hundreds of dollars. So it'd be very, very good to make sure you stay updated on our stimulus check news, which we do all that right here in this video. Massachusetts, South Carolina are just 2 of the states still issuing special one-time tax rebates. Now, going further, those are 2 states that are really doing something now, but California is sending them out, Colorado, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii is sending them out, Idaho, then you have the state of Illinois, then you have the state of Indiana, then you have the state of Maine. We've already said Massachusetts, Minnesota, you've got New Jersey, you've got New Mexico, it goes to New York, it goes to Pennsylvania, and it's South Carolina, and last on the list is Virginia. These are all of the states that are sending out stimulus checks to their residents. So make sure you stay on top of listening for the news that is going out, because millions of people are still owed hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and that may be you. And the simple answer to a lot of the questions when it comes to stimulus check is, maybe if you're getting a physical check, there's been a delay in the process of sending them out. It possibly hasn't hit your mailbox just yet. So just know that if I called out your state, then it could be you that's owed a ton ton of money. So guys, that is that information there. But I really wanted to jump ahead of this midterm election and let you know that, man, this thing with Russia is really getting serious. And what does that mean for the United States? So guys, stay tuned for more videos to come. Hopefully more of these states will pass stimulus checks up to $1,400. And guys, I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, I'm John Miro. Peace.